Ian Wallace has tonight's trending story. Hurricane Irma has wreaked havoc and doesn't appear to be finished yet, Ian.
No, indeed, not yet, and it has a long way to go. As Hurricane Irma, still a dangerous Category 5 hurricane, and it is set to make its steady progress across the northern Caribbean islands, heading towards the Bahamas as they get towards Friday. We have a few graphics here to show you basically about what's been happening. As you can see here, the center of Irma passed directly over Barbuda at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. It had winds of 161 kilometers per hour. That is sustained. That is the steady hurricane force winds, which were outside of the eye. And then we had gusts of 250 kilometers per hour. And this was reported as well. And then one thing to note is that the wind gauge at Barbuda actually broke once it got past the maximum wind speeds. In terms of the eye, obviously it passed across Barbuda at 2 a.m., then went across to St. Bartholomew, and then Anguilla and St. Martin around 6 a.m. early on in the morning, and then heading towards the British Virgin Islands at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Obviously, the system is quite a large system with tropical storm force winds extending 250 kilometers from its center, and the hurricane force winds at its core at 85 kilometers per hour. So obviously, where does it go from here? Well, Irma is set to make its steady progress just towards the north of the Dominican Republic, and we're talking about such a wide system that even parts of Santo Domingo along the southern coastline of Hispaniola and Haiti will also feel some tropical storm force winds at times. And obviously there's the flooding rain, the dangerous seas, as well as the damaging winds, and also the coastal flooding. The major problem with Irma is that the rains it will dump over this hillier part of Hispaniola, especially on the Haitian side, which is denuded, quite barren of trees, there's a likelihood of mudslides there. So the impacts may well be devastating all along that northern coastline of Hispaniola and then heading up towards the Turks and Caicos Islands. We could also be seeing some damaging conditions across the central hills, talking about those hills that will provide the impetus for the landslides as well as mudslides, and even along the southern coastlines for Port-au-Prince in Haiti, the capital. They could also be feeling the effects as they go through a Thursday night. Now, Irma is basically the strongest winds of any Atlantic hurricane on record. It also has the most cyclonic energy, and that basically means that of all the systems that have passed so far this year, from Arlene to Harvey, this system has more energy in all of them combined. So that's what makes this system such a dangerous one. And obviously we are now heading towards the peak of our hurricane season, which is technically on one day, which is September the 11th. But obviously as we go into the next few weeks and months, we'll be watching this quite closely, because now we have 3 hurricanes out there in the Atlantic Basin. We have Katia, which formed in the Gulf of Mexico. We have Irma, obviously, and then we have Hurricane Jose, which may well be heading for Antigua as well as Barbuda and the Leeward Islands later on in the week and into the weekend. So that's basically what's been happening here in terms of the event of Irma, and obviously there'll be more news given what's happening over the next few days. And you can join me later for more weather when I return.
Thank you so much for the update, Ian. Acting Prime Minister Colm Imbert says the government is monitoring the activity of the severe weather system and its impact on our neighbours in the region. A statement today from the office of the Prime Minister says the government has been in contact with some of our neighbours and will do what it can to assist should that occasion arise. The acting Prime Minister says he remains deeply concerned for the members of our Caribbean family who have been affected or stand to be affected by the potentially catastrophic Category 5 Hurricane Irma.